Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to a new session. There is not going to be video on this. I apologize for the confusion. So what I've done today is I have figured out a few tactics that we could go ahead and use for B2B kind of businesses as far as Google Ads is concerned. So very often we get preoccupied with B2C kind of setup, and we are very aware of how these campaigns should be and what the nature of keywords should be when we talk about these campaigns. So I thought it would be an interesting discussion to look at how B2B strategies work as far as Google Ads is concerned. And although I am happy to tell you that there may not be a lot of differences in the approach that we follow, because ultimately your goals are, I mean, your strategies are driven by the goals, right? So you come up with the strategy first, and then you go ahead and figure out what these campaigns should contain, and everything is based on the goal that you would want to achieve. So, on that note, let's get started with the discussion today, which is Google Ads for B2B businesses. And eventually, we cannot ignore the fact that any business, whether it is a B2B business or a B2C business, everything starts with a visit, right? So, the first thing that happens is a visitor comes to your website. Now, the moment he comes to your website, right, he becomes a visitor, and this visitor takes a path. So typically he goes through a journey for him to go ahead and become your customer, right? So very often this journey is called as or referred to as a customer journey, right? And he goes through a series of steps in the bargain to go ahead and to convert for you, right? So this is his journey. Now for him to go ahead and become a customer, right, and assume that the customer is the king, so let's depict it this way. Now during this journey, if you carefully analyze the methodology that typically people follow, there are a series of three things that eventually happen without us knowing it consciously, right? So there are three things that make this journey possible. One is your top of the funnel, and then you have something called as your middle of the funnel, and then you have something called as your bottom of the funnel. So these activities are not very different from each other, although all of these things are part of the same customer journey event, right? It is just an event. During an event, the customer passes through these three stages, right? And he may not pass through the journey the same day, but eventually there is a series of activities that he does for him to go ahead and become your customer, right? So, top of the funnel basically is your reach aspect of things. Middle of the funnel is when he typically considers to buy your product or service. Bottom of the funnel is when he actually goes ahead and converts for you, right? Now, usually what happens is all the marketers spend most of the time here at bottom of the funnel, because we want those bloody conversions, right? And we have the deadlines and we have the pressure, so we are very focused on these conversion related activities, that we eventually miss out on these things, which may not be a right approach, considering that you have to nurture the audiences along the way, because it is you're spending money anyway. But then why not get results repeatedly than just focusing on one thing? So when you talk about how Google Ads strategies can be framed, when you talk about these things, let's talk about top of the funnel. So when you talk about top of the funnel, everything has to be very carefully designed from the goal of your campaign, right? Nature of the campaign is there. It's already there. Whether you want to go ahead with a search campaign, display campaign, that's there. But along with that, you need to define the goal of your campaign. Now, considering this is going to be right, uh, top of the funnel. So top of the funnel is always designed in such a way that it gets as much traffic as possible, so that relevant traffic, so that you can get them to a point where you can actually convert them as they move down the funnel, right? So top of the funnel typically concentrates on the reach aspect of it. So your goal should typically be speaking about the reach that you would want to achieve. Now, once you have the reach, then you will go ahead and start picking up keywords which reflect the nature of the top of the funnel activities, right? Now, we don't blindly go ahead and find these keywords. For example, if you were talking about something called as chat GPT, right? Top of the funnel keywords would be things like what is chat GPT? So this is how broader aspect of people search for things, right? Now, once you get a broader picture, things like what is GPT, chat GPT, what is chat GPT used for, use cases of chat GPT, right? So you will come up with a list of those keywords. Now, along to complement that, what you also need to focus upon is your ads or your ad texts also talk about what chat GPT is all about, right? So what is GPT? Then you have blah 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 blah. This is Chat GPT. This is what it is used for. And similarly, you also make sure you include your site link extensions or your extensions that appear below the ad, very relevant to the theme of the stage of the funnel, the top of the funnel activities. You don't get too technical here and say buy our product or services. You don't get aggressive. You don't get very aggressive and say that buy our products and services at this point in time, right? Now, this is how your ad text and keyword complement each other. Along with that, you're also focusing on your extension. So, the three things that you need to make sure are in line is your keywords, your ads, and your extensions are on the same page. And just to take this one step ahead, all these result in an activity where the user visits your website. So your landing page better be talking about what is ChatGPT and not something else, right? So you also need to make sure that your landing page also should be very relevant to the stage of the funnel that you have and the goal that you would want to achieve considering this. So basically, all these four things should be in line. Then comes your things like bidding and what kind of bidding you want to use. Maybe you would want to use things like, because you're not very bothered about conversion and target CPAs at this stage. So maybe the fifth aspect is bidding, and here maybe you can start looking at things like, let's say, impression share, get as many impressions as possible. Maybe you can start looking at ECPC, which is enhanced CPC. So this is how you make sure that you build a framework around the stage of the funnel you're at. So let's say, depending on the stage of the funnel you're at, whether it is top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, or bottom of the funnel, you need to make sure you have a relevant set of keywords that reflect the ad text which is pertaining to the goal. Now, these ad text will also have extensions that are relevant to the stage of the funnel. These extensions, when clicked upon, will lead to the landing page, and all this will be encapsulated by using a right bidding strategy, right? So this is how it works. Okay, another important thing, while you're at top of the funnel stage, you also need to make sure that start creating your remarketing lists, because promoting your middle of the funnel campaigns becomes very easy to this audience, because this audience has already engaged with you, right? So create a remarketing audience at the beginning so that you can leverage this going forward when you move users down the funnel, right? So this is top of the funnel. So as users move down, these remarketing lists come very handy, so that they're familiar with you now to some extent, and then you can leverage your campaigns to build relevant ad campaigns and ad text so that you can help them take the right action. So now we are only focused on what is kind of activities, right? So if you look at this, so all this is talking about is what is ChatGPT kind of activities, right? So moving forward, now once you have done all these, then comes your middle of the funnel. Now, middle of the funnel is kind of interesting because this can make or break people's confidence and people's trust. So you need to make sure that this consideration phase that they're in has to give them maximum value and nothing less is acceptable. Now, once you make sure you define your keywords, right, your ads, your extensions, your landing pages, and your bids in line with middle of the funnel behavior, you cannot go wrong. So let's take a look at this. Let's take the same ChatGPT example. Now, keywords will be using things like use cases of ChatGPT, right? Ready to use prompts for ChatGPT. Then you can have free ebooks on ChatGPT, right? White papers or articles on ChatGPT. Now your ads will also have the same mention about get this free ebook and save, let's say, 30 hours of your time, right? So they also talk about the same kind of activities that you have mentioned in your keywords. Now your extensions, on the other hand, will have things like download ebook, right? Or watch free demo, then download the white paper, etc., 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 right? So this is how your extensions would reflect the same theme. Now your landing page again will be a single page copy where you have a download button where you're either helping them download an ebook or a white paper. Bids again will be relevant to what these things are, right? Now here you can get a little more technical. You can start looking at maximize clicks and etc. Things like that. So this is how you will define your middle of the funnel infrastructure, right? Now this is your funnel and this is where we are at, right? Now the next thing which comes after this is the most important thing. Okay, now before we miss out, now here you can also create ad groups or campaign. Now you can also create remarketing campaigns here, right? Which are promoting the download of these things, which are promoting downloads and maximum value activities, and you can retarget it to the audience you have created at the top of the funnel stage, right? Your existing audiences, which you already which have already interacted with you. Now, then you have your bottom of the funnel. Now, this is where you can go ahead and get technical about your conversion bids and keywords, exactly like download our ChatGPT app, or download your ebook, download ChatGPT, avail our service, book our service. You can have keywords like those. Your ads will be talking about very, very conversion oriented things like, enroll in our service, enroll in our course, or whatever. Or get your first app built on ChatGPT, whatever may be your service, right? Then you have extensions along the same thing that you will go ahead and use, right? And bids, of course, your landing page, of course, will have very, very clearly defined call to action about whatever your ultimate goal is, whatever your conversion goal is, right? Okay. And then you have your bids where you will start focusing on your CPA bids, right? Your target CPA, your ROAS, whatever you want to achieve in terms of your conversion goals. So this, ladies and gentlemen, is what speaks. This is what the set of activities should be ideally for any B2B business that is looking at promoting, that is using Google Ads to promote its business. So you will start looking at analyzing how these stages of the funnel look for your business, tailor make audience segments or keywords or whatever that matches each of these stages, right? Leverage things like remarketing audiences and bid strategies to make sure you achieve whatever you want to achieve in terms of your conversion goals. So this is how you start looking at and focusing on your B2B strategy for Google Ads. Thank you so much. My name is Casey. Until next time.